They say let go of expectations, and they also say have clear expectations. One tells us that expectations are the root of disappointment. The other tells us to know what we want and not settle for less. So, which is it? Should we release expectations for peace of mind or hold on to them for the sake of clarity, boundaries, and growth? Hi, I'm really glad you're here. I'm Nusi, and welcome back to Wise Discrepancies, where we explore the tensions between the wisdoms we're given and try to live a little more wisely in the space between. We've all heard it. Don't expect anything, and you'll never be disappointed. This philosophy has deep roots. In Buddhism, for example, attachment, including attachment to expectations, is seen as a primary cause of suffering. Letting go allows us to be present with life as it is. Mo Gaudat, author of Solve for Happy, frames it as a formula. He says, happiness equals reality minus expectations. So if reality falls short of what we expected, we feel pain. But when we soften or recalibrate our expectations, we open up more space for peace and perhaps even joy in the unexpected. Expectations play a central role in how we evaluate satisfaction. We don't just respond to what happens, we compare it to what we thought would happen. This comparison is what drives our feelings of gain or loss. As Nobel-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman explains, we often make decisions based on limited information, filling in the gaps with assumptions. This means our expectations are often based on incomplete data. And when expectations are built on limited data, they're more likely to lead us astray. So, as humans, we don't know everything. We're always running on limited data, which might be why wisdom often points to softening our expectations and learning to be okay with revisions. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus also echoes this. He said, don't hope that events will turn out the way you want. Welcome events in whichever way they happen. This is the path to peace. This is an acceptance that is less about giving up and more about inner freedom. Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron said, letting there be room for not knowing is the most important thing of all. In that space of not knowing, we allow life to unfold. Byron Katie, too, reminds us of the futility of rigid expectations. She said, when you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time. So letting go of expectations isn't about becoming passive, it's about softening control, which a lot of wisdom seems to point us to. As Lao Tzu teaches, manifest plainness, embrace simplicity, reduce selfishness, have few desires. This isn't detachment from reality. It suggests removing the unnecessary noise of heavy expectations. On the other hand, expectations help us live with intention. They help us recognize what we want and move towards it. Brené Brown says it simply, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. Unspoken expectations, even to ourselves, can create confusion and resentment. So clarity is a form of care. In relationships, expectations allow for communication. They help us know when something isn't working. They shape our standards, our boundaries, our decisions. Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And holding expectations lets us notice and honor what's actually unfolding and respond in the best way we can. Stephen Covey notes, expectations influence behavior because without some vision of what matters to us, we risk drifting without direction. To expect respect, honesty, care, these are not demands, they are part of self-respect. So it's often the unconscious expectations, though, that become a problem. As philosopher Alain de Botton points out, our expectations are often formed by the culture and stories we are surrounded by, from romantic comedies to success narratives. And when we are unaware of what drives our expectations, they can silently shape how we see ourselves and others. So becoming conscious of our expectations allows us to question them, realign them, and live more deliberately. And that journey is shaped by the expectations we hold for ourselves, of course. So this and a lot of other wisdom, it seems, also brings us full circle to the importance of self-awareness. When we are aware of our expectations, the trouble isn't in having them. It's in ensuring that we're not clinging to them or assuming others know them without communication. Clinging means holding so tightly to a specific outcome that we close ourselves off to other possibilities. It leads to rigidity, frustration, and often disappointment, especially when we expect things to go a certain way without flexibility or conversation. A good way to frame the idea of expectations is that expectations are anticipatory beliefs about how the future should unfold. But when we confuse expectations with guarantees, we set ourselves up for suffering. So maybe it's not about choosing one or the other. Maybe it's about how we hold our expectations. Perhaps we should think of expectations more as goals rather than something we are owed. Goals are something I move towards. For example, if I expect honesty or kindness in a relationship, I can treat that not as a demand, but as a guidepost for how I behave, what I communicate, and what I choose to accept. In this way, expectations become part of our personal alignment and not a trap for disappointment. Maybe the wisdom is in getting clear about what we hope expectations will do for us. If we treat expectations as guarantees, we're setting ourselves up for all kinds of pain. If, on the other hand, we get clear on our expectations and use them as information on how to navigate the world, adjusting as we see fit, then expectations are serving their purpose, which is to help us navigate decisions, communicate needs, and orient our lives in alignment with what matters, while still remaining open to what unfolds. To have expectations, but to also stay open, to know what matters to us while allowing reality to surprise us, to teach us, even disappoint us, without shutting ourselves off. It sounds as though the wisdom is in expressing our expectations where it matters and releasing the ones that aren't serving us. As Rumi puts it, be like a tree and let the dead leaves drop. Letting go of expectations, ones we have outgrown or ones shaped by fear, by miseducation, or by outdated beliefs, this creates space for new growth. This is especially relevant for me right now. I'm at the beginning of a relationship and it's a delicate, hopeful place to be. I want to let the connection unfold naturally, to trust what's forming and not try to check it against too many expectations. And yet I know it's my expectations or the qualities that I desire that will help me see clearly whether this is something healthy and right for both of us. If I suppress those expectations just to seem easygoing, I might betray my own needs. But if I hold on to them too tightly, I might miss what's real right in front of me, because what I see may be filled with assumptions. So this, I think, is the balance I'm trying to live into. Personally, I want my expectations to be guided by my deepest, purest desires. Things I think that we all want. And these are to be loved, respected, seen as I am, chosen, prioritized, safe, and secure. These are the native desires I have, and I think everyone has, that I think all my expectations are wrapped around. And I want my way to be to keep coming back to these desires, and I want to align my choices to them with care as much as I can, so that when I feel the push to act out of a sense of lack or neediness, I come back to these pure desires that I want to be aligned to instead. I do my best to make choices that bring me closer to them, and then I do my best to offer them to others too. Love, respect, to be seen and chosen, prioritized, safe, and secure. Though, as we know, expectations can often creep up from fear and past hurts and loss and ruin the present moment. Which brings us back to trust, a thread I'm finding weaves through a lot of wisdom. Trust that your expectations can be guides and not cages, that it's okay to want what you want and still stay open to life's revisions. Trust that letting go doesn't always mean lowering your worth. It can mean making space for something truer. And that holding on doesn't always mean control either. Sometimes it means care. Trust that your expectations can be shaped by your deepest, clearest, purest desires to be loved, respected, seen, and chosen, prioritized, safe, and secure. And trust that even when none of your expectations are being met, a sense of peace, clarity, and even happiness is still within reach. So maybe it's not let go of expectations or have clear expectations. Maybe the wisdom is in learning how to expect with awareness and to release with grace. What do you think? Do you agree? If this helped you pause, reflect, or breathe a little deeper, do consider subscribing. At the end of the day, we're all just trying to be as wise as we can. And here's a mantra to take with you. May I hold my expectations with awareness, hold on to the ones that serve me, and shed the ones that don't. Thanks for listening. Until next time.